again, shout out to my brother Barry Axius. Next year, we'll be having that same Malcolm X Fest here in Sacramento, but I was happy to be a part of that celebration. You feel me? Now, let's get into it. Like I said, me and my sister Sonia gonna have a conversation about our babies and keeping them out of the streets and jail. But first, let's talk about a couple news stories, family. Now, Sonia, in October
Yeah.
of last year, a young black man named SINZAE Reed. SINZAE Reed is this young black man's name, right? Last year, Sonia, he in his apartment complex, this is in Wedgwood Apartments in Columbus, Ohio,
Yeah.
a white man named Craig Butler, and this is what witnesses say, that according to reports, a witness saw Butler exit his red truck before shooting SINZAE 4 to 5 times. So this is a young black man. I think he's 13 years old, young black man that was shot several times by this suspected white supremacist, Sonia, and there's no reason behind it. I wanted to talk about
Right.
this story because we bring these stories up and we kind of detail all of the everything that happened leading up to the incident. Well, Sonia, in this situation, witnesses say the white man just got out the car and shot this young black man in self-defense. They're claiming self-defense.
Yeah.
No gun was found on the young black man. To my understanding, he didn't have a gun. So I'm trying to get a handle on, and of course, we understand the racism and how these communities work, but I'm trying to get a handle on why would you shoot one of our babies like that? Like our young
Yeah.
men, starting from 10 or 11 up, get treated like adults by all forms of authority
Yes.
figures. Their school,
Yes.
police, individuals in the police department. So Sonia, when you see, because the family's fighting, this guy, Craig Butler, the story comes back up, Sonia, because Sunday, May 21st, he was finally indicted. But the big thing is, Sonia,
Finally.
he was indicted on improper handling of a firearm in a motor vehicle and tampering with evidence related to the shooting of this young man. Not murder, not murder in the first degree, not murder in the second degree. So when you see a story like this unfold, what are some of the things you're thinking?
Well, okay, so from a mother perspective, a family community perspective, I'm always going to ask the question of how do these things keep slipping through the crack? We know for sure that when persons who are have the privilege of walking in white skin, regardless of their gender, their sexuality, their socioeconomic background, their religion, a white person in this country can almost get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the problem, right? So first, my first mind is like, well, dang, y'all not gonna do nothing about this. And a part of me wants to believe that the legal arm of the police department would be there to protect my community and my black body and my black children's bodies
Mm-hmm.
just as much as they do white bodies. Then I'm thinking from a community organizing perspective, it's like, why are we here again? Why do we have to wait? Right? Dr. King said, justice denied anywhere is justice denied everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
so, if we continue to allow for the circumstances to be that a year later, now we get charges and then another slap in the face. Oh, yeah, we arrested him, but we didn't arrest him for murder. We didn't arrest him for the things that we typically would associate with such a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Those therein lies the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find it very difficult to, as a mother, as a community member, to sit back and be like, "Dang, okay, they finally arrested him," and do a rah 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 hooray kind of moment, because
Yeah.
we shouldn't have to wait this long for justice to come for us.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to wait. And like I always say, we're going to continue to talk about these incidents. But in America, our
Yeah,
relationship with the police departments and police unions, like this complete structure, is a very abusive relationship. And in my opinion, they continue
very.
to do things to make it a very distrustful relationship because we keep seeing these incidents where white men with guns, find for whatever reason they shooting our babies. I
Yeah,
was reading a story the other day, Sonia, about a young cheerleader who they was done with cheerleading practice or some shit like this, and she
yeah,
got in the wrong car. She just got in the wrong car, and the white man in the front seat thought that meant that he can begin shooting at him, shot a couple of them, nobody died. But look, man, the families of the family of this young man are they're upset about this, and they're going to make sure they go as far as they can and make sure it's tried on a
Absolutely.
federal level or whatever the case may be. But we got to continue to call these cops out, man. Our relationship with the cops, like the
Yeah.
origination of police departments in America, we're still seeing a lot of the same remnants from this. And how do we talk to young Black people about police departments and the justice system when these type of things happen? Because this young man, we're going to talk about another story with a different young man, but just being involved in these situations, this is why we see police cars and get nervous. This is why I have no warrants. I have
Waiting, which they have
tags.
to.
I have a license. When
Right.
police get behind me, I'm nervous than a motherfucker, and that shouldn't be the
Right.
case. So we got to
It should
keep
not be
talking
the
about
case.
this. And families, like Black families, when you're wronged by this system, go all out. Yeah, protest,
Absolutely.
sue, speak to your city councilman, speak to the mayor, do whatever you can, because just leaving it up to this system to help us out, Sonia, don't seem like it's gonna work.
It's not, and it hasn't worked, and we have to historically start pushing the envelope in a different way. And that's not to say that we haven't pushed the envelope in the past. I
Mhm,
think historically, Black folks are the big one group of people who have pushed back. I don't want
mhm,
this narrative out there that we just sit back and we take it. There's
mhm,
this narrative out there that slaves just took it. It's not true. There were so many insurrections during slavery.
mhm.
These pushing backs against law enforcement have been transpiring since slavery because, as we know, law enforcement are former slave catchers. You know, we can't reiterate that more
Exactly.
enough so that people understand the connection. But we have always pushed back. And I just don't want people to believe that they don't have power to do so.
Mhm. And you know, and we never want to push a narrative where we're hating anybody. Like I don't
Right,
have a just in reality, like I don't have this strong hate for white people, but
right.
racist white people who use their privilege in the law to get away with harming us, fuck that. We have to be no nonsense about these
No
incidents.
nonsense.
And all of us with children, another part of the reason I bring these particular type of stories up, because if you have children, this should enrage you. This should make you want to be involved in some of our movements. This should make
Right.
you want to get the information about the details surrounding how we're treated so you can teach your children, so you can help
Yeah.
them prevent. Because sometimes I know Black folks who step back and say that ain't got nothing to do with me. I got to go to work tomorrow. See, but
Yeah.
when something happened to your child, unfortunately, something happened to somebody in your family, then you wanna call a Black Lives Matter type organization or someone who can come out and kick up dust. But we should be on high
Absolutely.
alert anyways. We should be on higher alert.
Anyway.
Now, Sonia, something I was just thinking about. How 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 much would you think things like this would get affected if we had um righteous minded Black cops who like flooded the police departments to be involved? Is it a broken system that's going to find a way to not allow them to be righteous, or would that create a little more balance?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question, Harrison. I wish that I can say I knew of an example of
Mm,
one police department where there were righteous Black cops that stood up. And I don't even want to just leave it to righteous Black cops. I want to be able to say righteous cops, period,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I know Black cops. A funny thing about me is that my last teaching position, my last teaching assignment was with Sac City Unified, and I was the program coordinator, lead teacher for the Criminal Justice Academy. My
Mm.
business partner at Kennedy High School was the Sacramento Police Department. Now, hold on, hear me out. Granted, one of the missions of this program was to prepare young people to go into a career of law enforcement in whatever capacity. I feel like I did my job so well that only 3 out of